Hello, gang. We have a new entry into the little but powerful amp world here from ENGL, who has created some of the best lunchbox, they call it lunchbox style amps you can get. So it shouldn't be a surprise that they've taken it to the next level. This is even smaller than their typical lunchbox, like the Steve Morse one that I've shown on the channel, which I love, and I have. This is the Ravager. It is a little 20-watt beast. All tube, you can see it in there. See those tubes hanging out back there? 2 channels in here. There's a lead and a clean with independent level controls for balancing your 2 channels, as well as a master volume. Some key features that show up on the rear of the amp is the attenuator. So you could go full volume. You could get down to like 1 watt. Is that? Yeah, it's like super low power. You kind of don't need to go to low power because it has a great master volume, and you could run it super low volume from the master volume anyway. But one key feature of this is you could go fully attenuated, so no speaker attached, so you'll want to turn that to full attenuation. Then you could silently use the direct IR output. Of course, you could run it at the same time as your cab, but if you just want to run this quietly, you got an IR output. It comes with one, which I think is actually kind of cool. So they give you one ENGL cab that's in slot 1, and they kind of know, like, look, people are gonna use their own IR. So that opening song was my IR, and I just put the USB, I dropped it in there, and I switched it over to 2, and I was like, great, this reminds me of things I like, because I made the IR, right? And that's what you'll probably do too. You'll find the IR you love, you'll drop it in there. But if you don't have any IRs, this is a good one. So I'll show you that in a minute. Headphone out, headphone volume, there's a direct line out. Anyway, effects loop, and the foot switch. The most important feature of the Ravager is it's under $1,000. So this is the lowest all-tube entry amplifier you could get from ENGL, and it's on the lower side of the price point for kick-ass amps, really. Does it sound like an ENGL Artist Edition? It doesn't sound quite that big. You know, there's a reason for 100-watt amps and huge transformers. Does it sound good? Yes, it does. Let me show you. Let's go. For almost that entire opening song, I just left the Ravager with the same exact settings. Now that they're a little quick and easy to move, especially if you're changing the lead to clean, you could bump them, so they're in the ballpark. I don't know exactly where I left them off, but I didn't need to change it. It just sounded good, and it kept working, so I was like, all right, I'll just change pickups, and that's the thing. So the clean is great, and quite a versatile channel. I'll show you. Lovely, you could go full treble. I think, oh, actually I had the treble up higher. There is some range on this clean. That's halfway up. Let's see where it goes. So you could go into some really big rockin' tones with just the clean. The lead channel has range too, and it just gets into this beautiful searing kind of like, you barely have to touch the strings and it just sustains like bonkers. So let's start in a lower gain setting, and then it beautifully changes colors too. I love that. So again, we're using the IR output. This is the stock ENGL IR, which is quite good. I'll show you the one I was using for the opening song. Just a quick switch to the first setting. Both of those sound great to me, kind of a different character, but it's so nice to just be able to switcheroo, and you've got that at the flip of a switch. This is the Ravager running through that 412, mic'd with a 57, and a hint of that Soyuz 1973 microphone. I could probably go louder, because it's pretty quiet. that is the new ENGL Ravager. I'll put some links below. You could peruse the website, learn some more information on it, or if you just want to buy one based on what you've heard, you can do that too. No one would be mad at you. All right, gang. Thanks for watching. See you later.